In 1791, the thunder of cannons finally faded as the Austro-Turkish War came to an end. The Sanjak of Smederevo, which was inhabited by Serbs, allies of Austria throughout the conflict, remained under Ottoman control, however, and enjoyed unprecedented freedom. Serbs were allowed to collect their own taxes, bear arms for self-defense, and most importantly, get protection from Janissary violence. Recently pardoned by the Sultan after the Ottoman defeat in Egypt, a faction of 4 renegade Janissary warlords returned to Serbia. Their ambition grew until in 1801 they assassinated the Ottoman governor of Serbia, the only person capable of stopping them. They began a reign of terror. Taxes multiplied, land was seized, villages were pillaged, but the worst of it all was the resurrection of an ancient cruelty, the tribute in blood. Serbian boys were kidnapped, converted, and forced into Janissary rank to then end up fighting against their own people and family. Serbian elders decided to act. They drafted petitions to Constantinople, asking the Sultan for protection, but the Dahijes intercepted those communications. Their response was ruthless. They started beheading all nobles, priests, elders, and local chiefs they could get to. Enough was enough. Instead of crushing resistance, the massacre ignited it. In the forest around the village of Orašac, survivors gathered in secret. From among them, they appointed a leader that would lead an uprising, Đorđe Petrović, known to history as Karađorđe. He was a hardened veteran of the Austro-Turkish War and was deeply respected for his ruthlessness and unyielding spirit. Aganuja, one of the 4 Dahijes, wished to negotiate with the rebels. They arranged a meeting at Dropa. Aganuja marched out with 400 seasoned troops. Meanwhile, Karađorđe took barely 200 rebels, mostly farmers and villagers, armed with muskets and determination. They were outnumbered and outmatched, but Karađorđe had a plan. There would be no greetings, no speeches, only musket fire. Aganuja was in the leg and fled, suffering 50 casualties. Karađorđe then turned his attention to Rudnik, where one of Dahije's brothers, Sali Aga, held a strategic fortress and a Muslim-majority village. Serbian ambuscades, commanded by Petar Kara, held nearby roads and forests, now allowing the Turks to go to other villages and spread chaos. Once Karađorđe arrived, he began negotiating with the Turks. However, Chola Kalija led an army from Čačak to Rudnik, so he could reinforce Sali Aga, but he was ambushed and driven back by rebel forces, who by now surrounded the village and fortress on all sides. The Turkish garrison was given 1 day to withdraw. However, news soon arrived that Kuchu Kalija, the brother of Sali Aga, was preparing to relieve them. Encouraged by this, the defenders chose to remain and put all their property inside the fortress, preparing for a siege. In response, Karađorđe ordered his men to prepare for a direct assault. Seeing this, Sali Aga attempted to sortie, but he was too late. The Serbs were ready and immediately counterattacked. A fire started, leading to 10 houses being burned down. Turks were forced to flee the village and take new positions inside the fortress. Once there, the Serbian commanders instructed their men to fire multiple bullets from their muskets at the fortress so they could create the illusion of a far larger army. The tactic worked and Turks resumed negotiations, abandoned the fort and began their retreat towards Užice. Despite agreeing that the Turks would be let to leave freely, Karađorđe sent a detachment to ambush them, but Sali Aga noticed tracks along the road and suspected an ambush, so he swiftly altered his route towards Čačak instead. But once again, the rebels pursued and struck. 2 Janissary commanders were killed in the ambush, but Sali Aga managed to escape with 300 men. Serbian numbers are unknown, but most likely 1,000 to 2,000, with relatively low casualties. On the other hand, out of 1,500 Turkish troops, 1,000 were most likely killed, captured, or missing. Meanwhile, 2 brothers, Jakov and Matija Nenadović, were attacking west, being the Janissaries at Svilujeva, where Turks suffered heavy casualties, and took Valjevo, where the Ottoman garrison fled after multiple skirmishes, and hearing the defeats at Svilujeva and Rudnik. Furthermore, Šabac was put under siege. However, the rebels were ill-equipped, with just 1 cannon. Eastern Serbia joins the uprising under Milenko Stojković, taking the Ram fortress, which cuts Dahije's communication back to Vidin, where another renegade Janissary is, and Požarevac is put under siege, but the rebels failed to break through its garrison without additional support. As these battles unfold, the scale of the uprising becomes clear. In just 1 month, the rebels have won 5 battles and liberated a vast amount of territory, yet the struggle is far from over. Dahije still have more than 2,000 troops in Belgrade. Another 2,000 armed Bosnian reinforcements are eager to strike and break the siege of Šabac. While in Jagodina and Ćuprija, there is a combined garrison of roughly 2,000 more troops. Nevertheless, the Serbian army earns a short, 3-day respite, but this calm is only the silence before the storm. The true struggle is only just beginning.